Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a first impressions / review on the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Longwear Liquid Foundation. So this is Urban Decay's newest foundation. They just released this. It is now available on Sephora. At first it was just available on Urban Decay's website. If you've used Urban Decay Naked Skin Foundation, you know that it's super lightweight, it's very skin-like, but this one actually has 3 times more pigment than that one. So it's super full coverage. It's not the type that you're gonna build up. Like, you just need one layer of this and it's going to cover everything. This is even more full coverage than the Estee Lauder Double Wear. I haven't tried the Kat Von D really because I can never find my color, but I heard that it's even more full coverage or just as much coverage as that Kat Von D Latte foundation. And it is also oil free and paraben free, and this is meant to be a waterproof foundation. I have normal to dry skin, so I applied this side with a beauty blender and then this side with a brush, but I ended up using the beauty blender all over the face just to make sure that everything's in and locked and loaded. And I almost didn't want to set my face because it was so matte. I did feel kind of tight and I was kind of scared to set my face, but I decided to set it anyway because I know that it will transfer and it's gonna move even if it's matte. I feel like every foundation needs to be set. So I used the Armani Luminous Silk Compact because it's super lightweight and I didn't feel like it was gonna add coverage, because honestly I don't feel like I need any more coverage. So I have shades 4.5, 5.0 and 5.5. I'm gonna show you them swatched on my hand, but 5.0 was the best match for me right now because the 0.0 shades actually run a little bit more yellow and the 0.5 shades run a bit more on the pink side. So far I like how the foundation looks. It looks super even. My skin just looks really nice and full coverage and matte and not flat, like it still looks like skin. But I will say that I don't like how it looks on my nose. But again, my skin is really dry and right now I'm extra dry because my skin is still kind of recovering from the burn and the tan that I had. So on my nose, it is a little bit of buildup because my nose is just always dry. But besides that, I really like this. It does have a pump, which is really nice. The tiniest pump can be spread throughout your whole face or half of your face depending on how you like your coverage, but just the littlest amount goes such a long way because it is so pigmented. This foundation has a pretty standard foundation kind of smell. It kind of smells like paint, kind of like MAC foundation. It just smells standard. Like, it doesn't have a floral scent, it doesn't have any added scents. I just feel like it smells like a full coverage foundation would smell, like the Kat Von D or the Marc Jacobs. They all just kind of smell like you're about to beat your face. I like that they give you a little window to the foundation shade so you can actually see what it looks like, but then majority of the bottle is covered so it doesn't look messy. I really like the packaging. I just think it looks so sleek and so modern and just so cool and so Urban Decay. Compared to the Urban Decay Naked Skin, I just think this one is like its badass brother. It is really, really hot today in New York, so it is the perfect day to test this foundation out. I'm gonna be stepping out, I'm gonna be doing someone's makeup, so I feel like this is the perfect chance to see how long this wears, because whenever I'm doing makeup on someone else, I tend to sweat and I tend to move a lot, and I don't know, I just never really like wearing foundation while I'm doing someone's makeup because I feel like when I'm done, it never looks the same. This foundation comes in 24 shades. This foundation retails for $40, but it is a standard 1 fluid ounce. But I feel like you do get so much pigment out of this. You get 25% more pigment than the other Urban Decay Naked Skin foundation. So I feel like if you're going to compare the two, you do get more out of this one because you need less, if that makes any sense, if you're into a full coverage. Now, if you like that natural, everyday kind of look, like skin-like finish, you'll love the Urban Decay Naked Skin. It's awesome. It looks like skin. It just is such a great day-to-day foundation. So first impression, I like it. I'm actually really loving the matte finish on me. It's weird because I have dry skin, but I love how matte foundations look on me. I don't know what it is, but the L'Oreal Pro Matte foundation is like my favorite. Every time I wear that, I get so many compliments. My pictures come out great. I don't know what it is, but that foundation I feel like was made for me. So I feel like this is kind of similar. It's just a lot more full coverage. I think the reason why I like matte foundations so much is that they look really clean and they don't look like you're sweating. They just look like it's meant to be there and it's put in place. So this foundation also didn't have any flashback when I took pictures with my iPhone. The back camera, the flash, it doesn't look ghostly. The color actually looks a little light with the flash, but it doesn't look like it's giving me a flashback. It just looks like maybe the shade is just a little bit lighter than my skin tone, which is weird because everyone says that this oxidizes. I'll have to see if later on in the day it gets any darker. I'll continue to take pictures throughout the night to let you guys know, but so far I don't see any flashback. It might just be my Armani powder. I use shade 4, so it might just be that that's kind of giving me a little bit of a lighter tint to the face, but it's definitely not that flashback that you get from like powders or products with SPF in it. So if you'd like to see how this foundation holds up, and if you'd like to see a demo, then keep on watching. Bye guys. So here we have 4.5, 5.0, and 5.5, and as you can see, the 0.5 shades, which are these two, are a lot more on the pinky side. I'm going to be using the middle shade, which is 5.0. It just is a lot more yellow than the other two, and I probably could get away with using shade 4.0 because I have a feeling that this is going to oxidize on me, and the color right here looks fine, but once you blend it, I've seen that it kind of gets darker, but I'm going to go ahead and use this one because it is the closest to my skin tone right now. So I am going to be using a primer just because I typically would use a primer. This isn't going to affect the longevity much of the foundation. It's just really going to refine my pores and fill in my pores. So I'm using the Dr. Brandt Pores No More, and I'm going to just gently pat that into the more porous areas of my face, which is around my nose, on my chin, and on my forehead. So I'm just going to pat this in. And I am going to moisturize my skin just a little bit. I'm using this Caudalie Vino Source moisturizing sorbet because my skin is extra dry right now. I did use Bioderma this morning, which can kind of make my skin a little dry, so I just feel like I need a little bit of moisture, and this is something that I would normally do, so I want to use this foundation like I normally would. You guys want to see how I would actually use the foundation, and because this is a super matte foundation, I know I'm gonna need a little bit of hydration, so I'm kind of scared of this foundation because it is super duper matte. So I went ahead and sprayed some primer water on my face from Smashbox. It says on the package to shake it. I feel like because it is so full, it's kind of hard to feel the product shaking, but I'm gonna go ahead and shake it anyway. So I pumped some on the back of my hands, and I'm gonna use my beauty blender for the right side of my face. And I heard that you don't need a lot, so I'm gonna start off in small sections. This color actually seems pretty spot on. It's the right amount of yellow, and because my tan is fading, it's the perfect color. Normally I wear like 3.0 from Urban Decay on the naked skin, but this one actually seems to match me right now perfectly. So I'm gonna take it down onto my neck. This is actually looking really good. Just that one little dab covered half my face. So now I'm gonna use the Hourglass Vanish foundation brush, which I've been liking, and I'm going to just dab it in, and I'm going to try buffing this in to see if it looks any better, if I like it. So, usually brushes tend to give you more coverage, so I'm excited to see how this side looks. Using a beauty blender after using a brush will remove any excess, but it still allows you to have a full coverage look. It just kind of makes everything look a little more skin-like, and I like that. This will remove any streaks or anything that may have not gotten blended with the brush. This is definitely a full coverage foundation. I would compare it to Estee Lauder Double Wear, but almost even more full coverage because it covered any little redness that I have here, which sometimes the Estee Lauder won't cover. I feel like in person the color is matching, but on the camera I'm seeing in the viewfinder that it looks a tad bit orangey yellow, but I feel like that happens with most of my foundations, and then when I put the rest of my face on, it looks good. I probably could get away with the 4.0, but the 4.5 is just too pink. I could just tell by the swatch on my hand that it would be way too pink, and I'm more of a yellow undertone, neutral undertone, so I'm gonna finish up my makeup and I'll be right back. So it's been 3 hours since I had the foundation on. So far it's looking a little bit dry, and it did oxidize. I will say when I stepped outside, you can see like the demarcation line. I feel like in this lighting you really can't see it, but I brought the foundation down to like here, and it looks a bit orange in regular daylight, so that is kind of annoying me. I should have just went out and bought shade 4.0, I think 4.0 or maybe like 3.0 and mixed them, but the shade looks good on camera. It just doesn't look like my exact shade in person, like in natural daylight. So far so good. I'm not oily, but typically I don't get oily, so that's that. And I did actually powder my face one more time because I felt like it was still sticky, like it didn't set, so I did have to apply a little bit of more powder. I used MAC Studio Fix powder, which is really like matte and full coverage, so I applied that kind of like down here, and I used NC25, which is light, so it's weird that it still looks orange. So I'm with Charlene right now, by the way. We're gonna go to dinner, so I'll check back in with you guys in a few. So far so good, me likey. It's been 7 hours, actually 8 hours since I've had this foundation on. It's still on, which is pretty crazy. I was sweating, I was out and about, I was in and out of places, and it's still on. It's still holding up. All of my makeup is still on. I was eating and stuff, so my lips are kind of coming off, but the foundation is on. I am extremely exhausted and I have to be up in like 5 hours, so I'm actually going to head to sleep. So definitely a thumbs up for this foundation. It wore through the night really nicely, and I don't feel like I have to check it or touch up or anything like that. But so far I am loving this foundation. If anything changes, I will let you know in the description bar. I'll be wearing this again, but my first impression is that I really like it. If you do have dry skin, you do have to moisturize and prep your skin, but I feel like that's a no-brainer for anyone who has dry skin. If they're putting on a matte foundation, they have to prep. If you have oily skin, even if it's just in your T-zone, you're gonna love this foundation. If you're someone who works 10+ hours, you're gonna love this foundation. If you have oily skin, you're gonna love this foundation. So I feel like even though I have dry skin, I can still work with this foundation, and I think that's really important. I feel like if I moisturize even more, it would look even better, but it's definitely wearing really nicely. So I'm gonna call it a night. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.